Charles Albright was adopted from an orphanage when he was 3 weeks old. His adoptive mother doted on her only child, and his well-being was a top priority. However, she was old-school strict and at times punished Charles severely by physically tying him down or shutting him inside a dark room. Good manners were especially important in the household she dominated. Charles was taught piano, and he was expected to practice daily. He became an accomplished painter under her direction. The mother and son shared a fascination and love for the same hobby, taxidermy. His mother encouraged Charles in this pursuit, imagining her son as a future doctor or surgeon. They would search for dead birds and small mammals to mount, spending hours on each meticulously crafted project. After Charles received his first gun, he would shoot small animals to mount. However, to Charles' dismay and disappointment, his mother insisted that each piece of taxidermy be completed with black buttons instead of the expensive glass eyes used by professionals. Many authorities proffer this as the root of his arcane fascination with eyes. Charles's mother relentlessly pushed him in his academic studies. As a result, he was able to skip 2 grades and graduated from high school at 15. Unfortunately, by 13, he was already on a pathway to crime. Relatives report that even as a young child, he was always a handful. By age 17, his thievery had escalated to the point that his crimes earned him a 2-year sentence in a detention center. He served 6 months. Upon release, he appeared to have changed for the better. He enrolled in Arkansas Teachers College, and his charismatic personality and good looks earned him the coveted role of big man on campus. Albright excelled in academics, sports, social clubs, and was elected to the student council. However, he was also known for outrageous pranks that bordered on the bizarre. In one instance, a good friend ended a relationship with a classmate and threw all photographs of his lost love in the trash. Charles retrieved the photos and cut out the woman's eyes from the torn-up pictures. He pasted them on the ceiling of his friend's dorm room above his bed and around the bathroom. In 1954, 20-year-old Albright was expelled from college before graduating for stealing from the school. Real life was quite different from his college days. He married his college sweetheart, a teacher, but again seemed to prefer cheating, stealing, and lying over upstanding and legal behaviors. He pursued many avenues to earn a living but failed or quickly tired of each endeavor. In 1968, he faked his credentialing and academic record to falsely obtain a position at a high school teaching biology and coaching. He was well liked by students, parents, administrators, and co-workers, but his deceit was eventually discovered. He was fired, prosecuted, and received probation. All through the 1970 OS, he continued his petty larceny, cons, and illegal habits, but with little repercussion. Even when he was charged and convicted of molesting a 9-year-old girl in 1981, he only received probation. He continued to shun lucrative employment, usually lasting on a job for only a few months. He relied first on his wife, Betty, and then on a girlfriend, Dixie, to support him even after inheriting $96,000 from his father, along with rental properties. When he was arrested, he was a part-time carpenter and delivered newspapers during the early morning hours. Reportedly, he frequented the Oak Cliff bedroom motels many days, a secret he successfully hid from his partners. The Albright's killings were characterized by the removal of the victim's eyeballs with expert precision using an X-Acto knife. Between December 13, 1990 and March 18, 1991, 3 Dallas prostitutes from the seedy Oak Cliff district were found dead from gunshot wounds. Each had been shot with a .44 caliber gun, and all were missing their eyes. Charles Albright, a 57-year-old known petty criminal with an extensive rap sheet, was arrested on March 22, 1991, based on information provided by other prostitutes and circumstantial evidence found during a search of his Oak Cliff residence. He was tried by a jury and convicted on the 3rd murder charge only. There was insufficient evidence to try Albright of the other 2 killings, but to date, he remains the only suspect in those murders. After his arrest, no other bodies were found with the eyes removed. A ballistic comparison of the bullets found in the body of the 1st and 3rd victims matched, although the gun was never located. DNA evidence evaluation had not progressed to today's standards. A pubic hair found on Ayu, the 3rd victim, was from a Caucasian male, and an expert testified it matched Albright's hair, but not uniquely. A hair from the tail of a squirrel was found on the 3rd victim's borrowed raincoat that was left in the field where she was killed. A squirrel's tail hair was also found in the vacuum cleaner bag at Albright's home. Albright's live-in girlfriend gave Albright an alibi for the time of one murder. Evidence was lost, and a star witness for the prosecution, a drug-addicted prostitute named Veronica Rodriguez, changed her testimony. Ultimately, Albright was convicted of one murder based solely on hair and circumstantial evidence. The jury deliberated for only a brief time before rendering their verdict. However, there are a few skeptics who firmly believe that Albright was not the killer. Albright still claims to be innocent of all charges. Albright was charged with the 3 eyeball killer murders, as well as an unsolved 1988 murder of another prostitute who was stabbed to death, even though her eyes had not been removed. He was cleared of the 1988 murder when he presented an airtight alibi. He frequented prostitutes regularly and was known to many of the local Oak Cliff workingwomen. During an initial police interview, however, he stated he had never used the service of any prostitute. His first experience with a prostitute had been when he was 15 years old. He caught the crabs from the liaison. His adoptive mother died in 1981. His adoptive father died in 1986. After World War II ended, there was a building boom in America. Albright's mother began to sell real estate, and he helped her. The parents bought their son a rental property when he was only 14 years old. In total, he was left 4 rental parcels in Oak Cliff after his father passed. When the parents purchased the properties, Oak Cliff was a safe district with well-maintained homes and low crime. His adoptive mother reportedly kept goats in the backyard of their home so Albright would have fresh milk each day. She was obsessively concerned about his health. He married his wife on December 27, 1954. She left him in 1975 but did not divorce him until 1987. They had one daughter. In 1986, he began living with a woman, Dixie, whom he was still living with when he was arrested in 1991. Members of his senior softball league described Albright as having a great sense of humor and one who avoided physical altercations. He was well-liked. Dr. Irving Stone, a forensic scientist who was investigating the murders, played on the same team. When authorities searched his home, they found a hidden cache of almost a dozen guns, but none matched the gun used in the murders. They did, however, find .44 caliber ammunition, several X-Acto knives, and the brand of condoms found with both the second and third bodies. His girlfriend was past childbearing years and knew nothing of the condoms. He has always suggested that a renter in one of his homes was the killer. The man's name was Axton Schindler. The police searched Albright's rental properties after his arrest and found no incriminating evidence in the rental home where Schindler lived, nor in any of the other properties. All the bodies were dumped in open residential areas. The third body was dumped miles away from the first two bodies. Each was crudely staged, either nude or with the victim's breasts exposed. The third victim was left in clear view near a public school. The MO from the first two kills changed with the last kill. The first two victims had been Caucasian. The last victim was black, and she had also been savagely beaten about the face. An earring had been ripped out of her ear. The removal of her eyes was done in a much less precise, almost blundering manner, and part of the blade of an X-Acto knife was still lodged in an eye socket. The authorities suggested the killer had been forced to rush during his macabre ritual, or had worked himself into a violent frenzy. Albright admitted that he had a fascination with eyes, but always claimed that did not make him the killer. I got 3 books that gave references about taking out eyes. One of them is Stephen King.